You have a roughly 1 in 15,300 chance of actually being struck by lightning in your entire lifetime. Your odds of being attacked by a shark are even slimmer, sitting closer to 1 in 3.7 million. But how do those extreme mathematical rarities compare to the odds of finding a non-citizen actually casting a ballot in a U.S. election? Out of 23.5 million votes reviewed across 42 jurisdictions in 2016, officials referred roughly 30 suspected cases of non-citizen voting. Similarly, over 40 years in Louisiana, out of 74 million ballots cast, an audit found just 79 possible instances. When a statistical anomaly is this microscopic, it usually gets ignored. Yet across the country, hunting down these elusive non-citizen voters has become a multi-million-dollar government priority. State legislatures are currently passing stringent voting laws and establishing specialized law enforcement units dedicated exclusively to election integrity. In 2022, Florida created the Office of Election Crimes and Security, a dedicated police force operating out of the state capitol to investigate voter fraud. The federal and state systems already punish non-citizen voting with massive fines, up to 5 years in prison, and immediate deportation. For an undocumented immigrant or a legal resident awaiting naturalization, casting a single fraudulent ballot means risking their freedom and their future in the United States. State governments are pouring millions of taxpayer dollars into finding an illegal act that the existing legal system already effectively deters. The current alarm over non-citizen voting traces directly back to a 2014 academic study by Jesse Richmond, which claimed a significant percentage of non-citizens were participating in federal elections. The study's conclusions were built entirely on a statistical phenomenon known as measurement error. Measurement error occurs when a small percentage of survey respondents accidentally provide incorrect information, skewing the final results. This diagram shows how easily a large dataset breaks. If you survey 20,000 voters and just 0.1% accidentally click non-citizen instead of citizen, you suddenly have 20 people generating a completely false data point. By taking that microscopic fraction of misclicked survey responses and extrapolating it across the entire United States population, the 2014 study artificially generated hundreds of thousands of non-citizen voters. A handful of accidental clicks on an online survey form bypassed rigorous data checking and mutated into a persistent nationwide political narrative. Today, state governments are making the exact same data mistake on a larger scale by cross-referencing their active voter rolls against the federal SAVE database. SAVE is an online tool administered by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services that allows registered government agencies to verify an individual's immigration status. In October 2024, the Texas Secretary of State used that federal tool to flag 2,724 voter registration records as potential non-citizens. During that exact same month, the Iowa Secretary of State's office announced they had identified 2,176 potential non-citizens on their own voter rolls. But when local election officials investigated these lists, they found the flagged individuals were overwhelmingly legal, naturalized U.S. citizens. They had simply registered to vote shortly after taking their oaths, before federal databases had processed their updated paperwork. This diagram illustrates what happens when massive claims hit reality. After thorough review, Iowa's list of 2,176 potential non-citizens collapsed down to just a tiny fraction of unconfirmed records. Every time a sweeping claim of mass voter fraud is subjected to rigorous, individual scrutiny by election officials, the thousands of supposed illegal votes evaporate into statistical noise. Since the statistical threat of non-citizen voting is virtually zero, we have to look at the economic cost of trying to find it. Consider the partisan 2020 election review in Maricopa County, Arizona, led by the firm Cyber Ninjas. That operation cost nearly $9 million to execute, extracting $4 million directly from Arizona taxpayers to replace compromised voting machines. After months of searching, that highly funded audit found exactly 0 confirmed non-citizen votes. Or look at Florida's Office of Election Crimes and Security. In 2023, the Secretary of State requested a budget increase to $3.15 million. That same year, the office secured only 11 cases that led to paid fines. This ledger visualizes the actual return on investment. If you divide a $3.15 million budget by 11 isolated cases, Florida taxpayers are paying nearly $300,000 to prosecute a single infraction. Specialized election integrity units require massive, continuous funding, but they routinely fail to produce the underlying crimes required to justify their existence. The intense political focus on an invisible voting issue distracts from the documented areas where government funds are actually bleeding away. This diagram illustrates the true scale of the disparity. The Government Accountability Office, an independent, nonpartisan agency that investigates federal spending, reported $162 billion in improper federal payments across government programs in fiscal year 2023 alone. Meanwhile, the American voting process remains highly secure because the severe legal penalties already acting as a deterrent are working exactly as intended. The most significant fraud is not happening inside local polling stations. It is happening in state budgets, where millions of taxpayer dollars are routinely wasted, fighting a threat that the data proves does not exist.